Hi there, it's Jared Plain and welcome back to another bass lesson. In this lesson we'll be looking at guide tones and how we can use them to improve as improvisers. So let's get started. For many of us, navigating our way through a lead sheet can be a very intimidating task. As bass players, we're expected to be able to play an appropriate bass line to any given standard the moment the chart is handed to us. Many band leaders expect you to have jazz standards memorized. The band leader, oftentimes the lead horn player, will turn and say to the band, "How high the moon? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'd better start walking." But for some, improvising can be even more daunting than that, particularly for bass players. We spend most of our time playing walking lines, chorus after chorus, holding down the time and the harmony so the other members in the band can let loose over the top. When it comes time to take a bass solo, the heart starts pounding, the body starts shaking, the hands begin to sweat, and we inevitably bumble our way through a pretty sad sounding half a chorus. Guide tones are one of the best tools you can start using in your playing to get through the chord changes with minimal fuss and bother. Guide tones are typically considered to be the 3rd and 7th scale degree of a chord, as these notes determine whether a chord is major, minor, or dominant. However, guide tones can be whatever you choose them to be, such as chord tones or tensions, but for the moment we'll stick to the 3rd and 7th. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's take the first 4 chords of But Not For Me, for example. Here we see the 3rd and 7th notes for each chord in the progression. Using these notes, we can create a guide tone line, or a sequence of pre-selected notes to help us get through the chords. For example, we'll start with the A note on the F7 chord. We'll then move to a guide tone on the F-7 chord that is closest to our starting A note. In this case it will be A flat. B flat 7 also has an A flat as one of its guide tones, so we can keep this note the same. For E flat major 7, the closest note to A flat is G. And finally, we'll use B flat as our guide tone for bar 4, as this note is present in both the G-7 and C7 chords. Let's take a listen to this guide tone line, along with the backing track. Not too bad, but it sounds a little bland. Let's give ourselves a few more notes to work with. This time, we'll construct our guide tone line using all 4 chord tones of each chord. Of course, this requires some knowledge of chord construction. So if you're unfamiliar with how to do this, check out my video series entitled Constructing Chords. There will be links in the description. Take a look at our next example. The previous guide tone line utilized exclusively 3rds and 7ths. But as we already know, 4-note chords are made up of 4 notes, so we've added in a few roots and fifths as well. Let's hear what it sounds like. We've looked at thirds and sevenths, and all 4 chord tones. Now we'll really give our guide tone lines some flavour by adding in some tensions. These are the notes that are usually tagged on to the end of a chord to give the chord an additional colour. You've probably seen them before, things like sharp 9, flat 13, sharp 11, and so on. These are great notes to make use of. Even if they're not written on the chord symbol itself, use them. See if it sounds good. It probably will. Once again, if you don't know what these are, check out my Constructing Chords video series for more information. Great! Now that we have these lines, what do we do with them? Use these lines to come up with solo ideas. Play improvised passages between guide tones. Or simply play them as long notes to give your solos some space. It's up to you. Guide tones are just another tool in your toolbox, so be sure to make use of them. That's all we have time for in this lesson. If you have any questions, comments or suggestions, as always, please feel free to leave me a comment. Until next time, take care.